What's up, you guys? We're back with another episode. Today's episode is going to be very interesting. They didn't want to take any notes, so we'll see how it goes. Following that, my brother's here, so he has to introduce himself, and we'll start off by that. Then we'll go from there. We only have 2 mics, unfortunately, so I guess they'll be sharing the mics because I'm a little too far from them.
The of Doom and Despair, by the way.
One mommy.
Yep, and a whole bunch of dogs.
Okay.
And we have
a whole bunch of dogs.
So we'll see how
Okay.
it goes.
And 6 dogs.
Okay, I'm gonna introduce myself, I guess. You got a bunch of different ways of me introducing myself. I can start off by saying that one guy on all social platforms, but I really go by Victor. Really. What else should I introduce myself?
That's
Your
it.
age,
Oh, you're.
I'm 18 years old, but mentally I'm like 47, maybe even 50.
Interesting.
Okay, all right.
My back says 50,
Okay.
which is funny because we're gonna segue into the fact that I'm also trying to be a firefighter, and I'm starting to work out now. It's working pretty decently,
Yeah.
Good vibes.
Do we talk about the dogs?
What are you talking about the doggies? Oh, you want to get into? Are you gonna introduce yourself? Hold on. Are you gonna introduce yourself first, or?
You know me already.
Yeah, you're the only one that didn't.
But what
get
if there's
But
new
wait, we
people?
should- Okay, so
No?
what
No, you don't have to.
generation are you guys considered?
Man, I'm part of generation. I don't fucking care. I look.
I don't know if I would be Z or X. I think it's Z. No.
Aren't
Yeah,
you a
Z
millennial?
or millennium? I don't even know.
But you, well, yeah, I don't know.
He's a millennial, isn't he?
I don't know.
I really don't know.
Where's your man bun?
Find that out.
My man bun.
Well, this is Hennessy.
This is Hennessy. Oh, so like, give you quick context. I guess I'm gonna just steal the show and yap, but these are all of our dogs. All of our dogs. I don't really know how to say
That's
it.
exactly how all of our dogs
Yeah,
are.
yeah. It's kind of just
Exactly.
you have to be here to really know the dynamic, but they all just. It feels like each one has their own, not
Personality.
personality. I say mental handicap, but
Okay, all right. Oh, wow.
what? I'm not saying
That's a
anything.
boop, boop, that one.
That's
No,
a
what do you
cancellation. You know what I mean?
No,
Before we
it's
even meet,
not.
you know? All right. Well, keep going.
I am literally saying that most of these dogs have some type of mental disorder.
Oh, 100%.
But that's I'm not. There's nothing.
like,
there's,
what is she doing?
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong
Like,
with
what is she going through right now?
with making that observation that something could have possibility of
All right.
mental
Let's
disorder.
introduce these dogs, though.
Okay, let's talk about
Okay,
Rogie has
this is Rogue. Look, she has different colored eyes.
Very awkward, as you can see. She's just like
Yeah, she has zero.
Stuck in the air.
She has zero like survival skills.
at all.
Yeah, she's definitely the type of dog to like walk inside of an alligator's mouth.
For sure.
Gambit, he's
intense.
yeah,
Very intense.
We'll say. There's a Chloe. She doesn't know what personal space is
At all.
Once you mention her name like twice, she'll like
Right there. You see?
Yeah.
Just took her once.
yeah, and then
look
she'll
at-
just lay and just
She'll throw herself on you.
yeah.
He's so sweet, baby.
Ruby's in the corner over there being sad.
Ruby's depressed.
We got
Yeah.
Hennessy there. Hennessy likes to be touched. She's very clingy.
Is sleepy?
Hennessy just like sleeping.
And she loves to sleep. And then we
We
got
were
Bella down there, but Bella's already sleeping.
Yeah,
You guys can't see her.
Bella has yari in her leg.
Yeah.
yeah. That we're trying to fix.
That we're gonna try.
So,
So what else, guys?
where are we gonna
So,
start off?
Well, I've been traveling, right? One time. Whoop, whoop.
but you need the mic so they can hear you a lot better.
Yeah, hi, Mike. Oh, sorry, I need the mic. So, as I travel for a living with my beautiful job,
How was that? How was that?
Talk about your job.
I hate it. I hate traveling, to be honest. I'd rather be home, to be honest. But so anyways,
I could.
I started talking about I wanted to talk about some shows. So I started watching the true, what is it called?
Well, while you look for it, let Victor talk. Because
Let's see
Victor
what
looked like he
Victor
was
has
over
to
there
say.
ants in his pants. wanting to talk.
Yeah. I have a problem when it comes to conversation. So, give you some context. I'm really good at just talking and elaborating.
Love life.
Yapping, really. The love life?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's
We'll-
a Netflix.
We'll,
What's
we'll
that
add
about?
on to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It talks about so first part of the season, the first season, is about a female and her finding her true love and how long it takes and the process.
So I got a question
that
for you
she goes
guys.
through.
No, I don't think true love is real.
I couldn't even ask the fucking question. Let me ask the
Wow,
question.
what are you talking about?
I don't.
Says the one. Listen. Says the one
got a
that found his.
I do.
Wait. Let me explain this real quick. Says the one that has a girl.
Uh-huh.
Been with her for 2 years.
Uh-huh.
You guys love each other.
We do love
and
each
it was
other.
love on first sight.
I knew I wanted to stay with her, yes. But that's
And
not...
you don't believe in true love.
I don't believe in true love. And you want me to explain it to you?
Yes.
Because true love is the decision that you make every single day to stay with that person. That's what true love is, and that just doesn't have. That doesn't just happen because someone's like, oh, I see this person and I stay there. Because in reality, that's just your brain doing the dopamine cycle of finding someone that you find interesting, right? That's what like love in the beginning is. That's what like the honeymoon phase is. But when you really start finding comfortability with that person, you're just hanging around with them. Like it's not like, let me give you an example. When you're, even though it's not the best example, because like being someone's friend and being in a relationship with someone is completely
Bang
different.
shoes.
But when your best friend comes over to your house, do you really have to do anything with them? Or can they just hang around with you?
I personally would like to do things with them. That would be
Okay,
kind of
but
weird.
you have to is what I'm saying. Like, can you guys just
You really don't
hang out?
have to. No. You don't really have to do anything in life.
I have a shout out to G Money, Guillermo. I go to his house and we just sit down and we'll play Clash or do something. Like we'll just hang around each other, and like that's what like love in general should be, is just making that commitment to having someone's back, not just socially, but you don't have to make an effort anymore. That's what
But
love is.
that's
is making-
exactly what true love is. True love is you're loving that person for who they are. It doesn't matter. You can have a slow day, a boring day, and you still love that person. True
Absolutely.
love doesn't have to mean that you're stuck to that person forever. True love can just, at least like how I see it, right? Like true love could be like, I love this person no matter what, and I'm with this person for X amount of reasons because we love each other, not because we have to do everything or I have to be with that person. That's not true love. That's just fake love. If you're with that person and you generally feel happy, that is true love.
Yeah,
That's how I see it.
I'm thinking about true love as in the way that is socially commentated on more than true love that you're speaking of, because I agree with you in the case of that's what true love is making the constant effort of being in a relationship with someone. Now, does that mean that someone should like
No,
from
they don't
one
have
day
to
to
be with you.
another like stay committed to someone? Like
Absolutely not.
Like no, but at the end of the day, there is going to be like moments within your relationship that you have to really fight for what you believe in. And so that's what love to me is as a whole, is sitting there and making that commitment to that person through thick and thin. That's what love is.
Yeah.
So, and love can, so,
Do you want me to just hold it? I feel like if I just hold it, it's just easier because I could do this and this and this. You know what I mean?
That would be a lot
as long
easier,
as your hand doesn't get tired, Victor.
It's not going to.
Okay. All right. That's it.
One of my workouts is about that actually.
Okay. So, I mean, I think that, you know, as I look at life and what true love is, there's always going to be one person that's going to touch your heart in a way that no one else has touched your heart. And that person will live inside of you forever. Okay? It doesn't mean that you're not going to fall in love with another person, but it is going to, inside your heart, there's always going to be that love. So is there true love? Yes, there is absolutely true love. And does love exist? Absolutely. Can you fall out of love? Yes,
Yes.
you can fall out of love. But is it the commitment that you choose to fall back in love together?
This is my point on that. To fall out of love is like you originally got with that person for the wrong intentions, or you kind of thought something else. Like nobody shows their true colors, and it's not like you do it like on purpose. It's just a moment that ends up happening. A lot of your true colors don't come out until later on. And I feel like once you're with a person for a while, it's very hard to forget about them. Anybody that you've really been with, especially if you make them a significant part of your life. I don't think you really ever get over someone, or you may get over the feeling of them, but not over them.
But you do eventually, and it all depends, right? So, and that goes into,
But
right,
I think
soul ties, and you breaking your ties that you had with that person. Because every time, right, this is in the Bible, every time that you sleep with somebody, you take a piece of that person with you forever. And until you don't break that tie, you carry that person with you. And that person then goes and lays with the next person. And
Yep.
and so it continues to tie and tie and tie together. So it's important, right, for when you start a new relationship, that you have broken off of your past.
Exactly, and
close that chapter.
And that pretty much comes from like sitting there and understanding that you're not going to the next relationship without getting help, in the sense of healing deep down. I think like once you start going to another relationship, or like let's say you leave someone and you haven't personally healed deep down, that's when you know you haven't broken that soul tie.
Oh, of course.
And a lot of people think like it's like, oh, breaking a soul tie. Like no, like I feel like breaking that soul tie is actually finding love within yourself. If you can find love within yourself, then you don't have to worry about looking for love in another person. And I think like, that's what a lot of people are messed up in. They want love from someone else when they can't even love themselves. So then I look at it like, why would God give me love when I can't love myself? Like, that's how I see it, right? We all have our different things, and that's why we don't have what we want, because we can't handle the things that we have today.
But we also fall in love with the wrong things.
Absolutely.
We fall in love with the car, the money,
Yep.
or we fall in love with the career that that person has, or the title that that person has. But are we really falling in love with the person inside? And I think that that's what happens nowadays, right? It's very easy for you to fall in love with everything superficial that you're seeing outside.
Superficial, but yes.
Yes, you know what I mean, Victor. It's okay.
I'm giving clarification. That's
Thank
it.
you, Victor. So sweet. But at the end, Victor's situation with his girlfriend, right?
I think that's true love.
Yeah, and maybe we don't want to brand it true love, but at the end of the day, or give it that title, but at the end of the day, what they have, which is what I explained to my mom, and my mom's like, oh, but you know, do you think he's ready? You know, whatever. And I was like, they're not going to get married tomorrow, but if they get married, I think
I support it.
Yeah, I support it. At the end of the day, I want him to be happy, and I like Angie. I think that she compliments Victor where Victor falls short.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's about. But they love each other without the title, because what their future will hold for each of them, it's not going to make a difference. Now, financially, the financial burdens that happen in the future is where things get.
She's gonna be dirty rich, is what's gonna happen.
There you go, Victor.
Gonna have so much money.
So much money.
No, okay. So if we really wanna talk about the me and Angie, like even with what my grandma says to me, it always sounds ridiculous, because any person that you step into, you know nothing about them. You slowly start to get to know them, and then you commit to them. But at the end of the day, you'll never know what the future holds within you two. So you have to make that commitment of wanting to know what the future is like and facing that together more than anything. I mean, what like, you don't know what's in your own cards, so So how do you expect to like sit there and be like, maybe in a couple years, maybe in like 10, 20 years, I'll find someone, which like to tie on to what my brother was saying, if you just
I
sit
thought he was
there,
gonna be like, oh, like my brother. I was like, damn, brother.
if you
Wow.
just sit there for 5 to 10 years, and instead of thinking about maybe then I'll get someone, you think about, I'm going to do everything around me to the best of my ability. Over time, because you'll start loving yourself and treating yourself in a different, because I know that some of you guys out there aren't probably religious, but on a certain level, you have to come to a realization that people call it aura, but in reality, like people have like tendencies. Like sometimes you could see someone and be like, that person doesn't really seem happy, and you're not really looking at their face, but like you can kind of read it off of them, right? And with this like idea, right, I feel like the same thing happens to someone that is happy with themselves, that is content with themselves. If someone walks around and is not necessarily like smiling all the time, but you could tell that they're okay with being like they're outgoing when they want to be, like they don't feel pressured to do any which way or any sort of thing, that person instantly gets attraction on a deeper level with anybody, really. But it also comes to which age group you're in, right? Because if we're in a situation where everyone's underdeveloped mentally, like for example, like in high school, like if you're a kid that like is like looking at yourself and you're like, damn, like I swear, like I have some things down and I can't figure out other things. You don't develop the front part of your brain, like the emotional regulation part of your brain, until you're like 20, like 25, right? Don't quote me on that, but somewhere around there.
I think it's women is 25 and men, I think women is 21 and men are 25.
But
So-
interesting enough, your personality is developed from your age of 2 to 5.
Come on.
So who you are going to be begins when
Lay down.
you're that age.
Lay down.
Absolutely.
Lay down. Lay down.
The part that I'm trying to say is for anyone that's like
down.
there, that's like, damn, like I swear, like I'm either like just like I'm angry or I'm sad or I feel like I'm going through a lot constantly. It's not because you're by yourself in what's going on. There's everyone around you that's also going through the same thing, and it's kind of stupid to sit there and instantly shit on one type of person or another. Like I'll give you an example. Obviously not going to say names, right? But there was this one person in my class that they always made a big show of themselves, whether it was because of whatever sport they played, or they would constantly be in this state of popularity and grinding for that want to be the center of attention, right?
But that person is like that a lot of the times is because
Hennessy.
they're looking for something that they're missing. And so you're always constantly trying to fit into something, but because you're not internally happy with yourself, you have to be able to love yourself and be happy with who you are as a person. What happened to me? At me being 16 years old and having Efrain at such a young age, and then having you at 21, right? I only have known to be a mom. I didn't know who Jeanette was or who Jeanette is without being a mom. So when I'm not around you guys, there's nothing that I do, right? Because I don't know what I am without being a mom. And so that person, who you might be talking to, is trying to fill themselves because they're not happy internally with who they are, and they need acceptance from the outside.
Yeah.
I've never been a person that I needed acceptance for the outside because I really didn't care, honestly. That's always been who I have been. But then again, who is Jeanette without being a mom is always an interesting topic for myself.
So I'll get into that for a moment, but just to really wrap up that end of my story, I had a lot of pretty decent conversations with the guy, and like still to this day, right? There's people that'll like shit on him, like not like, but like talk down on him in a way where they'll be like, oh, like he's like not a good guy or like whatever. And I felt like I am in this position in my life where I look at these people and I try to like really see what it's like to be in their shoes, which gives me to another point. And I try to really sit there and analyze, like, yeah, I wouldn't really at this point in time be really happy about myself, and which hopefully over time will grow out of that and kind of grow more into who he's supposed to be as a person, which I feel like he could be a phenomenal person. Right. But I think my biggest thing as a person is I think that compassion as itself is slowly dying in this world. And I want to get to your point before I get to mine. So you say that you don't care about the outside world around you, but do you think that because everyone, I feel like there's not a single person in this world that doesn't seek validation from someone or something, right? So do you think that instead of seeking validation from like the outside world themselves, you seek validation from the way that like me and Efrain treat you, because we've held such a prized possession with your life, right? Because if that is true, right, how would you now sit there, like now you're going to have to come to this point where you have to self-regulate the fact that me and Efrain as a person aren't always going to be giving you those levels of appreciation because we're doing our own life, which I know you're really good on, right? But how do you think you're going to be able to like take that journey, essentially?
Homie, let me answer that question. You're about to make her cry without even meaning it. She hates thinking about it. I could have answered that question for you.
But it's something that I think every mother or real parent has to
before she
think
even starts
about.
that, I think let me put my 2 cents of like myself. Like for myself, I understand like at the end of the day, even in the Bible, you would have to go and live your life, right? But I don't think I would ever be that son or that person to like not be there for my mom or deny a call. Like, I mean, I'm very weird about it. I can't deny calls on anybody. You can call me like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. If my ringer goes off, I'm picking it up.
If he wakes up.
Yeah, and if it's my ringer.
He doesn't even...
He sleeps like a rock.
Yeah,
and he doesn't hear his own alarm.
It's like, it's weird. Like, if I hear and I see it, I'll always pick up. I don't... Unless I'm on a phone call where it's like I can't.
But there's times, right? There's times that you call me and I'm in a meeting or I have a million people talking to me and I have the providers talking to me and I have all these crazy stuff happening. And I feel bad that I can't pick up. But, if you call me 2 times, then I know, okay, there's something wrong, let me pick up. But the reality is, I guess in some aspects of it, I guess my career becomes that, where I want, I want my team to be the best. I want my providers to be the best. I want, what I'm doing every single day for them to be the best so that they can deliver care to our patients. Because to me, my patients are so important to me. But I think it is difficult for me to know one day I'm going to come home and Victor would have moved out. Or one day I'm going to come home and Efrain has moved out. And I think that's why I keep adding dogs, because I love my dogs. And my dogs, I come home and you saw like how excited they get to see me. And I guess I just love the feeling of want. I think that I like that feeling of I want. And I guess I miss that from when you guys were kids. And I know everybody tells me, oh, they're always going to need you. They're just going to grow up and the need is going to be different. But it is something that I think of.
I think it's very different because compared to like the age gaps when a parent is a parent and a child is a child, it's very different. Being a mom at 16 years old and being a mom at 21, and you are like specifically you are more attached to us than a lot of other parents, right? And that's not even bad because I guess I could name drop because it's not a bad thing. But Ashley and Nana, they're like this.
Yeah.
And look at the age gap. You know what I mean? So it doesn't have to mean just specifically the age gap. It has to be defined by the person.
Because it's the whole thing is that here's the difference, right? And when you get older, you've been through more life.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like my friend with the twins. She's excited, she's happy, she loves them. She does things that I never at a young age would even think about doing, like cooking organic food or like that wasn't something I was interested in doing when I was with you guys. I was thinking about when's my next trip to Disney World and where are we going to next and what experience are we going to do?
But that's what I'm saying. You build more of a relationship.
But it's a different state.
Of course.
And that's what happened with her and the baby was that she's older. Her other kids are older, but she was able to spend the 4 years together with the baby. She was able to give her all of that attention, and she is the last one that she will have.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's so, it's like, my little bundle of joy there,
Rogie.
My little Rogie. And it's not that, look, I bought Gambit for myself. But
this is what we're talking about. They're just
but Rogie,
she just backed that ass up.
Yeah, but Rogie's so special to me. I don't know why. I'm obsessed with her.
I think she's just the joy that we needed, to be honest.
Yeah, she's so cute.
She's just her.
And she just barks around all the time and like
You can tell when she's excited.
She doesn't have like she behave. It's weird because she kind of behaves like a husky sometimes, where she'll just like she's so like active with her voice and her vocals, and I don't think we've really had a dog like
you
that.
really could tell when she's like, all right, let's go.
Like,
She lets everybody know.
like Ruby, for example, like she'll just bark at people, but it's different. Like she'll start like howling when she's like excited or like, and she's really vocal, right?
Maybe tired,
But
bro. It's past her bedtime.
in reality, like, I don't know. I try to sit there and think about what that would be like if you were like older in your life. But in reality, like, I don't think I would even want to come close to having it any other way, because I feel like if you were any older, I would have to, it would be a lot harder for me
to relate.
to not even relate, but relay information.
Exactly,
Like, I don't think we've had, like, especially because there for a very large period of time, it was just us three against the whole universe and the world. And the goat over there had to do multiple jobs all at once
Bag.
by herself,
Carrying
right?
Bag. She was caring.
And we had and I was having this conversation with Angie, funnily enough, that I was there like, it's so different this time that we're kind of going through like our, even though it's not obviously as bad technically speaking, our financial issues, right? But at least back then we had like this odd support system of characters, where here we kind of, everyone's either unfortunately doing their own part of life. Like I think that's the part where I'm kind of the most excited for in my life, is like my like 20s and early 30s, where kind of you guys are like, it's kind of like Friends, you know, like everyone hasn't had a kid yet, everyone except for her. So her support system would be like, they would all come by and we would figure out how to do something fun that's also technically not going to like a bar or something, right? Like we would go bowling a whole lot, or we would go at home, and then
That's why I don't bowl no more.
like
I am so good not a bowler.
it's so like it's so interesting that you get, and especially from my perspective in this, because I was the youngest one, that I kind of, it's kind of like disheartening and also kind of impressive at the same time, as seeing everyone like hit the door, whether that's metaphorically, literally, or even like spiritually, some people, leaving our life, and what it looks like before and after that is what I get to see. Like I get to see like every stage of everyone's life and how they kind of develop. But the weird part that I don't get to have is the backstory. Like I don't, and it's something that like, I guess that I get to, I have such a love for, is figuring out not the decision itself, but what are all the things that led up to that decision. And I think that's what made me such a big like movie fan of like all old school movies, and because I get to see not just the movie itself, that's whether it be award winning or whatever, but I get to see the development of movies as a whole. And it's weird getting to see that, because not only am I like the youngest here, but I'm really the closest like youngest like family member we really have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's like some of our distant cousins, you know what I mean? But like I'm the youngest that's been there through
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff.
I think
I thought Anthony for a second was younger than you.
no. So I think that, you know, you guys got to experience a lot of hard truth, but got to see a lot of fun, and got to see people do life, because you've also seen, not only have you grown up with me, but you also grew up with my friends. And you've also seen my friends at a single life, you know, trying to find their better half, or in relationships that were extremely toxic, right? Mm-hmm. And then,
No name dropping.
no name dropping, and then see my same friends get married, right? And do life. And see how they have gone through those things. And so, you know, I think that it is nice to have kids at a young age. I saw the positive. Now, do I recommend somebody to have kids at 16? No, right? No. It's too young. You know, you're definitely developing yourself and life, and it's not a good idea. Do I regret having Efrain? No, not at all. I knew I wanted Efrain even before Efrain was born. I wanted Efrain, right? And so I wasn't worried about doing life. And I'll always remember that, how everybody said, so what now? And I said, I'm gonna have my son. And I knew he was gonna be a boy. And so at the end, you know, I say in your early 20s it's good to have kids, But it's not to say that a later part of life it's not also good.
Yeah.
Because I see how my friends now have gone through all those stages, the clubbing, the drinking, the partying, the
Ruby.
one night stands, the all these different things that led them to their happy ending. I do believe that as my relationship grew stronger with God and my connection grew stronger with God, I was able to bring more and more people to God. And as people started getting saved, more and more people started changing their lives. And I think that that's another part for you guys to see how your life has changed, right? And even in the dynamics of friendships and people that have been around, you guys, that now things have changed. What that looks like, how your faith has grown, and how you have developed differently. So a lot of different avenues brings us to where we are today. But definitely it's about finding the right person. I was having a conversation today with somebody who she just wanted to talk to somebody. And I was surprised she called me to talk to me about this specific situation. And she's going through a divorce and she has small children. And battling that situation of now going from being married and together and having a family to now co-parenting. And I looked at all of those situations as she was sharing them to me, and I think, if it wasn't God in the center of my life, I got saved when Victor was 2 years old while I was doing my nails. And it wasn't until that moment, and I remember Victor sitting in his little chair with me while I was doing my nails, and this lady came in, she saved me, and I turned my life to God. And am I a perfect Christian? No.
Chloe.
Do I have areas of improvement? Yes. But I also believe that God has helped us through it all. And I think that even in your guys' relationships, from Victor and Angie's relationship to Efrain's future marriage or relationship that he'll have, it's all about that. So
Can I interject real quick?
yeah, sure.
I can't wait to see my brother's future relationship and who that's with, by the way. I know that sounds like stupid, but it's actually like, I don't know, like I've seen
my next conversation.
What
All
the
right.
let me talk. I'm not gonna be a dick. I'm being serious. Like, I've seen my brother go through so many different variations of Efrain as a person. Like, I've seen Efrain want to become a DJ. I've seen Efrain be emo. I've seen Efrain like sit there and say, I hate everybody. Then I love everyone. And then there's Efrain where it's like the only thing I care about is how fast can I go in a car? And then it's, wait a minute, how stupid is Efrain when he drives at night? And then
Not on my bucket list anymore.
it's this constant, it's the perfect progression of life where he just doesn't know what's ahead of him until he's there in that situation. And I always have this weird like knack in my brain where I could just sit there and I could really dwell on what comes next and what that could or could not look like. And it just seems so like beautiful in a way where someone gets to go through this journey of finding someone or really finding themselves, right? And just being like little and not understanding it in the beginning. And then I get to that point in my life and I'm like, you know what? I now know exactly what he feels like. You know what I mean? And it's an interesting perspective on things. Just to give you more context on myself, I'm really, like, my family has always told me like, oh, you're like super independent for no reason. Like, I've always been that person that's like very much like, I would consider myself as like a glue in a family dynamic. Like, I'm the one that really wraps everything
Interesting that he said
together.
that, but you know that's the same way Robert has always felt.
Yeah.
Robert's my brother.
Yeah.
He's
And-
expressed it plenty of times.
And he said that plenty of times, and that he's the glue that sticks us together. And you know, I love that, Victor. I love to think of us that, you know, you are very strong. You are stronger than me and Efrain are in emotional situations, right? Efrain,
That's why I want to be a firefighter.
yeah, Efrain's very reactive, and you know, I fight with my emotions a lot, right? Because I'm very emotional driven. Do I have areas of improvements? 100%.
I feel
I think we all do.
I think that's everyone.
Yeah.
You cannot find a perfect person besides
You're perfect in the image of what God made you.
the biblical description of Jesus. And if we're talking about perfection, so even though some of you guys, like I said before, I can absolutely agree that some of you guys might not be that religious, right? But at least on some aspect, you have to kind of sit there and be like, you want to kind of improve, right? And the best way that I kind of tell people that like don't believe in God and religion, I sit there and be like, right, this isn't like my one liner to tell them to convert. It's more like giving them that my explanation of why I commit that to God is sitting there and being like, well, I want to be better than I was yesterday, and I am a very logical person, so I need a rule set, and my rule set is the Bible. That is what I kind of follow to kind of see the imagine someone that is perfect, which is Jesus, right? Someone that didn't need to lie or have to lie, someone that could actually have commitment in everything that he does or believes in without him seeming pretentious or fake. Like, although people say I forgot what they're called, the rabbis would sit there and sit there and cast judgment saying that he's blaspheming, but they really had, it was more their internal fear of what if what he is saying is true, and I can't sit there and I can't sit there and understand the fact that I've committed my whole life to being somewhat good, and now this person that is the Son of God is telling me you guys are all a brood of snakes and are not really helping each other. You guys are really just helping for yourselves. I feel like that's what really caused them to be so aggressive and active in those situations. But that's a whole different conversation.
And again, I try to honor God in everything that I do. I'm not perfect. I don't do it, you know.
No one is.
Though I wouldn't say that I try as best as I can to honor him in everything that I do. And again, I know that I'm not saying that everybody that's going to follow us is religious or not. It all depends on your own faith, right? Your own faith and your own walk of life, right? Because I think that a lot of the things that helped me understand more of being a Christian, believe it or not, was before I became a Christian, and that I was reading The Secret. And The Secret is all about the law of attraction, right? And so how the law of attraction works is that, you know, you picture something, you're fully faithful into that, and you act upon it as though it has already existed, right? So, I'm a millionaire, I believe it, I live it, and I speak it, right? I speak like a millionaire, I act like a millionaire. That's what it is. And I had first put into perspective that I wanted to make $100,000, right? That was the first thing that I had put into my mind. So I got a dollar bill, and I made it into $100,000. And I said, you know what? I want to make $100,000. And so I did that, right? Then my next goal was I wanted to be a director. So I started talking to directors. I started putting it into perspective. I put it in prayer. I really own on to that. And then I wanted to make $200,000. And I said, I want to make $200,000. I made 215. I made,
Yeah, it says that's a lot of talking for him.
yeah, I made 200. Then I went, and then you know what? Life happens. Things change. Da 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 da. I put into perspective, well, you know what? I want to at least make $100,000. How do I get there? I made 195. Every single time. But who did I thank? Always God. And in the Bible, in my daily Bible reading, as a matter of fact, today, was about that specifically. Being very specific about what you want. And talking to God about exactly what you want. So, if I'm looking for a job, or I'm looking for a wife, being very specific about what you want, God can listen to your prayers. It's not about making the millions, Yes, he's not gonna give you $1 million. If that
Overnight.
overnight. Or if that's not what he really wants for you. Because he's going to give you what you need, not what you want. That means the car, the house, the life that you want will sometimes look different than what you really wanted it to be.
I definitely agree. My view on that is like, and to go back a little bit, because I was trying to talk, but I didn't want to interrupt you guys. But I feel like my personal opinion about God and everything is, you believe in Him, great. If you don't, cool. Like that's on you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm nobody to change that. I'm nobody to make you fall in love with God. I'm not. But what I will tell you is, don't miss the opportunity to learn about Him.
Of course.
Because at the end of the day, worst thing that's going to happen, you'll go to hell. And if everything does go good and I made it in God's eyes, I will go to heaven. You know what I mean? So I would always recommend someone to go learn about God. Talk to Him. Learn a little bit about it. Read a little bit about the Bible. All you're doing is, one, building knowledge to your mind and all of that, and doing better in yourself. And that perfection, the conversation about perfection, I don't believe that there's perfection. Jesus was the only perfectionist. But I do think, and I heavily believe, that we are perfect, each of us, in the way of God made us. That we may have defaults. We have defaults because that's what we as a person put on ourselves. Because we aren't okay with whatever reasons we have our own life. But how I've come to understand it and see it is, God made me this way for a certain reason. God made me go through those trials and tribulations for a reason. And this is more like going on to what you were talking about. Like, I'm also a very heavy believer that God gives you your battles and everything you're going to go through because He knows you're going to make it. Now that you may lose faith in yourself, well, that's not God's fault. That has nothing to do with Him. That's something with you and your mental health. But you are literally qualifiable, able to get to anything that's in your mind, because nothing is more stronger than a human mind. And letting yourself get to the area that you let yourself is, again, it's in the sentence that I just said. It's you're letting yourself. And it comes, and it's me saying it because I come from being very depressed in one point of my life, and very, very, like Victor said, didn't want to know about anybody. I could have cared less. Not to say that I care a lot about people, because I care to a certain amount. And I love everybody, and I would love everybody to be saved, but I'm not going to sit there and put it down your throat like, oh, get saved by God, get saved by God. Like, I don't like that. And I'm a big person. If I don't like it done to me, why would I do it to someone else? And people need to kind of understand, like, it's not that deep. It's really not that deep. You can get through it. The idea of being lonely is an idea you put in yourself. I promise you, as soon as you really look around, you're not lonely. Yes, let's say you have no friends. Let's say you have no family or nothing. Find God, and you will see you're not lonely. Yeah. How many times have I sat there in a bathroom by myself crying over and over again? In fact, that's exactly how I found trading. I was in my bathroom in college crying on the floor, and I would never forget the image, but not to go too much into depth.
Dirty bathroom.
And it's like, so lost in life, not happy with what I was doing, not happy with what was going on. And it's just like, then I just kept praying, what am I supposed to do? What do you want from me? And that's where trading came on. That's why I believe that God put me in where I'm at. Why I'm not successful? Well, I feel like I'm not successful because God has understood that if I can handle $1,000, how can I handle $1 million? And that's how I feel. And until I can understand these things and not put money in front of God, I think that that's why I haven't become successful. And a lot of people need to understand that. You're chasing a number sign, which at the end of the day, and the sad truth is, because that's how society is, and that's what the world has put us to do. The world is, you need money for everything you want in life, everything. You can't do not one thing without money, unfortunately. But if you were to take that money sign out of things, you would enjoy life a lot more.
So,
And it's about not chasing it, doing it the right way, putting it all in God's hands, and not worrying about it. Like you, perfect example. You did the $100,000. Were you worrying about how you were going to get there? No. You showed up every day to work. You did what you had to do. You kept praying about it. You knew it was in God's hands, and you were knowing that it would show up and it would happen,
and
all in God's time.
You know what I did? And I just came to me.
Made an effort.
Yeah, I just thought about this right now. I was more invested in my team than I was invested in myself. And right now, in the circumstances that I am in my current career path that I'm at, I'm not as invested in my team as and it's not like invested in my team. I guess when you're in sales, you want your team to succeed. And how do you make that team succeed? By what I noticed. If it's a person that's a hunter, if that person is looking and fighting for that next opportunity, then that person is going to work really smart and really hard to get there. And what you have to do as a leader is help them get there. That means you create a business plan in order for that person to achieve their goal. That means financially, you sit down, you draw the numbers. This is how many enrollments you need. This is how much you need to do. This is what you need. So all of these things go into play. Now, in an operation perspective, you have to think very strategic. How am I drinking strategic? You're thinking you can't really invest in your employees because how do you motivate an employee that comes in, clocks in, does their job, and goes home? Now, yeah, you can bring them lunch, breakfast, whatever. but what's in it for them? How can you make their life better if there isn't a number tied to it? Because the reason why people go to work is not because they're bored at home and they just want to go to work just to do something fun.
And
The reason why we all go to work is because there's a money tied to it, right? So I keep hearing this song, okay? This song that it says that there's a man on TV, right? There's a man upstairs, and he talks about all these different people, right? That we look up to. We look up to God. We look up. We go on TV. We look at the person on TV. This person is selling us a life. We go on our phones. We go to Instagram, Facebook, any of these social media avenues, and what are we doing? They're selling us an image, right?
of course.
And we're feeding into that image. So how do you motivate a team that you have no ability to give them something else? How do you incentivize them? How do you change their mindset like I would do with sales, where I put a money sign and I said, you know, if your goal is to buy a house, if your goal is to get financially debt free in the next 6 months, you build a business plan based on what they can make and you show them how they can get there. So how do you do that with operation? Or how do you even do that with your spouse or with your children? Or, you know, how do you tie that? And I was just, I've been just sitting here while we're talking and stuff. And that came to mind right now is, how do we stay motivated when there's not a number tied to it?
We don't. Well, this is my opinion on it. I think motivation is the number one killer of getting to your goal. I think in reality, you need discipline. Motivation gives you the tipping point of commitment, but to stay commitment is to give yourself discipline, right?
But
And
how do you stay disciplined?
What?
by coming, okay, even if this is I don't know who told me this or what video I saw where I got this, but this was the biggest point for me when it comes to
Who's gonna carry the boats and the logs?
no.
Oh, sorry.
When it comes to being a firefighter or living my day-to-day life, he explained to me, like, he said he was sitting on a chair and he goes, well, if someone goes into a burning building and they don't feel like they're just faking courage, right? But they're doing that act, that is courage. If you go and you wake up, right, and you don't want to do it and you do it anyways, that's discipline, right?
Of course.
Is doing that action. Like, you don't feel like
Yeah,
you're being
but no, you're
disciplined,
not.
but making that choice is being disciplined.
Yes.
How do you get someone to do that? You can't.
Not necessarily. No.
Some people get burnt
No.
out, though,
Yes. No. Wait.
right? And people are also a creature of habit. You know you gotta go to work, right? So you go to work, right? And you're gonna go be a doctor, or you're gonna go be an ME, or you're gonna go be an LPN, but at the end of the day, you're just going to collect that check. And yes, right, in our hearts, we want to believe that that person is there to save lives. But think about the fact, okay, that we are the only country that does not have free healthcare, and that healthcare is a business. So, how do you keep those people motivated when at the end of the day, it's like flipping a switch? And you're right. I have to give them credit because they show up to work. So every day it's like, oh, thank God you came to work. But I feel bad when you turn around and you see these people and they're struggling, they're being overworked, and you can't step in and help them or make them feel better. It's not like sales, where in sales, I could make them feel better. Because as soon as I sit with them in my one-on-one and we have the conversation and I say, hey, where do you want to see yourself in the next 5 years financially? I can create a plan for you. I can keep you motivated to that plan because what's in it for you is in that footprint. But here, there's no what's in it for you. It's what's in it for that bottom line. Yes, I guess what's in it for you is the end of the day you get a paycheck.
I'll let Efrain speak first, but that's what I was talking about originally. There's compassion is slowly dying, right? So like if you had a surgeon that will sit there and he'll say, I like, not to like say any movies or TV shows or anything, but there's moments where you'll sit there and be like, they want to do it because they want to actually help that person, and they'll actually sit there with that patient or whatever and talk to them before and after. But now it's like robots. Like they'll sit there and sometimes the doctors will get so lazy that they'll get nurses to do it for them. They'll get RNs to sit there and go up to the person and be like, this is what we're gonna do to you. Yeah, okay, cool. And this is how much it's gonna be, cool. And that's it, right?
And that's the argument, right? Some doctors just want to go into the room and have the MA or the nurse, the RN, have done everything for them, and they literally just sign a document and that's it. So how is that really being a provider? How are you really? And again, it all has to do with the fact that did they really get into that career because they really wanted to be a doctor, or did they do it because there was a financial background?
Well, of course, and that's so for me, right? And I think it's like the best way I can kind of explain it is motivation is what you see it to be, right? Like for myself, not a lot of people can sit there and say they've done trading for 3-4 years. 2 years unprofitable, and sit there and say they're going to continue going and lose money and be okay with it. And I have the discipline to show up every day. You find motivation in what you love to do. A firefighter is going to find motivation because they know, okay, I'm doing this because I love this. This is what I like to do. And they'll enjoy it, and that's how you find motivation. Myself, I see it as if I don't show up every day, if I don't put in the time and effort to what I want to do, if that's being a doctor, if that's being a salesperson, if that's being a trader, if that's being a janitor, if that's being a taxi driver, if I cannot sit there and do it and enjoy it, I would never succeed. And if I do it just to do it, then what ends up happening is the next person that decides to come along and do the same thing I'm doing is going to do it 10 times better than me or succeed.
But
And that's just the truth.
But keep in mind, right?
If you do not enjoy
I
what
have
you're
something
doing,
that I want to add on to this.
if you're doing something that you're not doing, I mean, if you're doing something and you don't enjoy it, it's because you did it for either the finance part, either that, or you did it because someone told you it's a good idea, or you did it for another reason. It's like the day of tomorrow, right? For an example, I decide to go be, I don't know, a doctor because my grandma told me to be a doctor. But then I become a doctor and I'm like, well, this isn't what I want to do. And now I'm not happy. I show up every day because I have that job and I have a degree. So, hey, I do get a nice check at the end of the
and are in ultra in debt.
Exactly. You're all of this thing. And now what am I going to do? Nothing.
I want to add on to two parts here. I don't know if a lot of people know this or not, but you don't start seeing money really when you're a surgeon after, I think it's 5 years. You don't really start making money for yourself.
Of course, and
And then on top of that, right? When you're a firefighter, it's not just about you, right? It's so much bigger than you as a person, right? So I'm doing this because I want to help as many people as fast as possible with like with as good as much quality as possible. Does that make sense?
of course.
And I found my goal is to become a firefighter slash EMT and hopefully become a paramedic or maybe another route, because once I'm in there, I'll figure out, do I really like fighting fires more, or do I really like the aspect of physically sitting down with someone and saving their life, whatever that might look like, right? And what I'm trying to get to is when you're a firefighter and you're sitting there and you're doing a workout and you're doing all this stuff, like at a certain point you're not doing it because you want to work out. You're doing it because if you don't, you're going to cut your career short. You're going to kill people around you. Not only are you going to kill people that are not like the people that are inside the building, but also you could kill your own
and
you
not
can
just
kill
that.
your own people around you. Like everyone's told me this is as adrenaline junkie as it pretty much gets for a job, but also it comes with a lot of responsibility of sitting there and trying to be the best possible teammate you can be, or crewmate,
And not just that, like, and finding motivation, dude. You find motivation in anything. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. Two people that have really, three people, that have. Man, I can give a list now that I think about it. I'll give two people, whatever, it doesn't matter. Number one, my mentor. Great person, has helped me become a great trader. I'm not successful where I want to be, but has able to make me more profitable. Been a little bit harder recently, but doesn't matter. But when you look at his story, the guy came from New York or Pennington. I think Pennington is in New Jersey, but he came from literally nothing, below means, and today he lives in a condo in Las Olas and drives a beautiful Mercedes. And it's like, and he has told me, he's like, well, Efrain, what do you think motivated me? What do you think told me to keep going? It was okay for me to make $700 a week doing what I was doing before. And it's like, I didn't need to continue going with it. I didn't continue to need to keep going. And it's the truth. You don't have to be successful. But what motivates you is what you find in it. And he said it. He's like, I wanted more than what I wanted more in my life than what I can do. The other person, my barber, been with him for like, nice long time now. But my barber has told me, he's like, Efrain, when I was growing up, you see me as a barber. What do you think? Yeah, it was hard. There was times where I lost motivation. Yeah, there was times where I didn't want to do this. But guess where? Where I lived, right in front of the apartment complex, what did I have? I had a cemetery. Guess what? Most of my friends are either there or in prison. Did I want to do that? No. So I use that as motivation. You can use anything around you as motivation.
So I think, and you guys, I guess,
My motivation is my family.
I'm gonna do that as a project. Because maybe I need to ask them. I didn't hire most of these people. Okay. So maybe I need a motivation wall for them to bring a picture of what motivates them. Because I think that as these people are saving lives, and they are, the fact that, and this goes in any industry right now, the job market is very bad. Mm-hmm. Society is struggling. I haven't heard from anybody that has said, hey, I'm doing good this year. From a business perspective, I have it. My friends, multiple people have lost their jobs this year, have had to look for new jobs, all sorts of different things have happened. They've had to take significant pay cuts, all sorts of things that have occurred. Now, because I can't get them a salary increase, or I can't get them a bonus, maybe if I help them see what motivates them on a daily basis in each center, that might help them stay motivated. Because I think that right now, and like I said, in every industry, it doesn't matter where you are, the nurses are overwhelmed. MAs, doctors, staff, anywhere. And maybe that can help them stay motivated. Because what I see is like, it's a routine.
Mm-hmm.
You come in, you clock in, we see the patient, we're on to the next patient. We end the day, and it's just like this vicious cycle. And the next day, everybody's miserable as they were the day before. And then they're reactive instead of being proactive.
Well, I think okay. But that to me right there is society in itself, right? And when someone tells me like the rat race, for years, well, I don't know if this is still occurring with this person. For years, I was told, I don't believe in the rat race, blah, 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 blah. No names. But honestly, when I sit there and I think about it, it's like when someone asks me, what is the rat race? That is my definition. Get up every day, go to work, do this miserable shit because you're chasing a dollar sign, then go home.
Oh, it's not chasing a dollar sign. It's also
to survive.
survive.
And that's what I'm saying.
You
But
literally.
it's because you're living in a system where you're programmed to do.
But
That's the problem.
you have no other choice because unless your AI is taking over a lot of things.
But that doesn't matter. That's where people are wrong. Me and my best friend were literally talking about this today. Everything was taken over by AI tomorrow. What are you going to do? Nothing? Nothing. You're going to tell me. So why even...
There's
But the
always
question
going
is,
to be
why would you
something.
want to live then?
No. But that's being like, there you go, being reactive. That is
No, but that's
like
if you
being
no
reactive
see
because
So
the problem
hold
is
on.
the following.
No,
If
no.
you were gonna tell me AI is gonna take over, you need to already have in the mindset
Yeah.
you're already thinking wrong. You need to understand. Hey,
No.
1 second, I need to figure out what I'm gonna do. Like myself. If AI takes over, it is very easy. Well, not very easy, but it is very reasonable for someone to create tomorrow, which there is big banks, and my other best friend and I were talking about this. Big banks use AI to trade for them. It's not a person anymore. It's most of the time our big AI, our big banks are using AI. But what ends up happening? You learn to use it as the best, at your side. If you are going to decide to be unmotivational, if you decide to whatever,
but
you
it's-
need to touch reality and tell yourself, is this the life that I want to live? Do I want to go to work every single day and be miserable?
But
you are
okay.
going to tell yourself no.
you're missing the point.
Can I
1 minute.
okay.
Really fast. It's not about AI taking over, okay?
I was just giving the example that you were giving.
Yes, because AI is going to take over jobs in a sense of it, but it's also going to enhance human life. Why? Career-wise.
Of course, 100%.
And all of that kind of stuff.
Of course.
Now, I'll give you an example. When computers came out, it was the same thing. Oh, computers are going to take
Everybody gets
over.
scared.
All this when
But wait. What did we end up doing with computers? We learned how to use them for our benefit.
Of course, and the same thing happened. And the same thing happened with technology, right? No one at all had remote work. Very few people had remote work.
Of course.
COVID came. A
Everybody
bunch
was
of
home.
remote works that, oh wow, now you could do remote work and I don't have to pay that much and I don't have to have an office building and okay, but there's other things, right?
Yeah.
We're like, let's go ahead and have a call center overseas. instead of people in the United
course.
States. So why? Because we enhanced that technology, and we said, oh, you know what? We're gonna go ahead and save a couple of dollars and now send it overseas, right?
Of course, yep.
Because now we can do that, right? Technology has evolved, and it'll continue to evolve.
Of course.
And yes, we have to continue to program ourselves to use this technology to help us do
our benefits.
our job
100%.
and to help us advance ourselves, right?
Of course.
Granted. Now, I also believe that through the years, technology has changed and changed its pattern, and we have gone and we have done things to advance ourselves and all of that stuff. And I believe that AI is an enhancer, right, to what we're trying to get to. Go ahead.
Okay. Because you guys think so way different than me. It's actually kind of funny. So, first off, the idea that you're talking about, it's a difference between wanting to do that, because anyone could want to do whatever, but in reality, it's a victim of circumstance. You're sitting there in your dead-end job having to do it because that's what pays the bills. Would it be nice to sit there and try to like get out of it and do more? Absolutely. But some people don't have that backbone.
Okay, but now let me ask you a question.
Hold on. What I'm saying is it going to take them way more to do it? Absolutely. Do I think that they can do it? Even more, absolutely, because that circumstance will make you want to get out of it, right? But at the same time, you can't realistically look at yourself and be like, every single person here can do that, because at the end of the day, some people will choose not to.
Okay, now that's perfect example. You just said it. It's the difference of, can you? Yes. Do you want to? No. That's what you're not under. That's what you just said. That's what I'm saying. You and anybody, okay, if you got perfect health and if you want to do it, keyword, and I've always said it, if you want to do it, you will do it. Would it take time? Yes. Mom was 21 years old, 2 kids, was able to make $200,000. Stock market wolf, 18 years old, single father, going to school, worked at a 6-figure job, and still is to me one of the most successful traders. Everybody has a circumstance. That is just a fact. Everybody has a circumstance. The difference between a successful person and a non-successful person is who is more or who is inclined to be comfortable with the position that they're in. I can right now, like I've had this conversation with myself plenty of times. I can right now give up on all my dreams and live a calm life, stress-free, answer calls, work from home, whatever, move out, get my own place, and just calm the whole way over there. But do I want to do that? No. And that's where I say, like, that's why I told you, I'm not disagreeing with you. But that's the difference. Do you want to? No or yes. But can you? Absolutely. Wherever there's a will, there's a way. That is across the board. Could it be harder? I'm not saying it won't be harder. Absolutely. It was hard for my mom to make 6 figures in a year. Absolutely. It was hard for people to make the goals that they want to make. But what made them do it and not the next person? They busted their ass. They had the drive in their heart to do it.
Of course.
And you have to, as a person, have to find that.
You're right. You're right.
It's back to the same thing of finding your motivation.
Your motivation, exactly. You can't. And I used to be one of.
Hold on. I want to get to 2 other points.
I literally used to listen to podcasts thinking it's going to be motivational. A podcast isn't going to help you. That's just the truth. What's going to help you is you finding it yourself. Either pray about it, talk to God about it, or you yourself find it. If you're not religious, find your motivation. If it's your kids, if it's your family, if it's your future kids or your future wife, whatever it is.
If it's your circumstance, if you fucking want to make the decision, it's like most people when it comes to actually going and becoming thin, you gotta. The funniest thing is asking those people like, oh, when are you going to start your diet? They always tell you, oh, tomorrow. Do you know a person's really committed to change when they say, oh, today?
I think that was one of my biggest turning points. As soon as I heard that, I heard someone, and I don't remember who it was. I heard someone maybe I don't
Hold
I
on,
don't want
pause
to say name.
real quick. One of the greatest things that I've ever heard is people won't remember you, people won't remember what you said to them, but people will always remember how you made them feel.
Of course.
That, it gives me shivers to this day. But continue, and then I have 2 other points to make.
It's literally like, and I'll add to that real quick, but I have come to the conclusion, right? If you want to make a change in your life, you have to be willing to. And it's not about, for an example, I wouldn't say addicted, but I was very, very, very into Kubies, electric cigarettes. I would smoke all the time. It got to a point where I didn't care. I would do it anywhere, whatever.
But it was
didn't
a
matter.
generation thing because everybody with the little
Let me explain myself.
Still is.
There still is.
Yeah,
First of all,
the little
that doesn't
chubby
matter.
chubbies.
The problem is,
It's like if they're missing
Just
their
like-
binky and
the
they got
problem-
a
No,
new
it's
e-cigarette.
just like regular old cigarettes. It's the same company. It's using nicotine, and now it's worse than it is before. I'm sorry to cut you off, but real quick, it's worse than it is before because now they have a way to package it as not just a terrible cigarette smell or taste. It is now flavored. It's now in mint. It's now in a bunch of more
people
accessible
don't get addicted
variety.
because of the flavor. People
No, they get addicted
because
to
of
the
chemicals. I don't know.
Yes, absolutely, but it's
following that, like I was
more
saying,
attractive.
I was addicted to it, and I didn't get off of it until I was able to really tell myself I'm done, and I started that same day. I was in Miami the last time, and I literally witnessed my first like encounter where I was like, bro, like this is hard. My friend's hitting a Kuvi, and he's just ripping it, and I'm sitting in there. My best friend, he's ripping it. My 2 best friends, because it was 2 people in the car, and they're ripping their Kuvis, and I'm sitting there looking at it, and in my mind it's like, oh, you can have 1 tap. Oh, 1 tap won't hurt. Oh, you this, oh that, and that's a problem that a lot of people have. Oh, 1 hit of weed won't hurt. Oh, one hit of cocaine won't hurt. Oh, you'll be fine. You'll be fine to drink tonight. And it's like, that's how you start an addiction. And it's like, I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it and I'm having this whole demon fight in my mind. And I'm looking at this, I'm like, holy shit, like this is what breaking addiction looks like. And it's like, I tell people, it's like me losing weight from one moment to another. I said, look, I'm going to do this. Got on a calorie deficit the same day. I looked at what I ate that same day. Boom, I went on it. Running the same day. If you're going to do it, don't wait till tomorrow. Because at the end of the day, like we said before, you don't even know if tomorrow is going to get here. So why worry about the future when you can't even worry about the present? That is just the truth. And you have to sit there and see it like that. Your life is going to pass you way too fucking quick. And if you're worried about tomorrow, you never get it done.
Yeah. Well, Victor,
Okay.
you had 2 points.
I did
I
have
was
2
going to say
points.
something, but I forgot the
Yeah.
other part.
Okay. So just one point. It's not really, but like if AI took over the what jobs would still be open and available, things that you have to do with people. What I mean by that is realistic social services. You wanna really get into a job secure. Become a firefighter. Seriously. There's
Yes
no
and
machine.
no.
There's no machine out there that's gonna jump inside of a burning building because
Not-
they won't understand the aspect of saving a human life. So they'll always put themselves in the position where, statistically speaking, I should not go inside that building.
That's a great conversation.
You could program any robot you want, but if
That's a great conversation.
if fire drops on top of them, they won't have. It's something that we have in our brain, in our body, that'll sit there and be like, if something's bigger than you, just like when it is to having a kid, when something is bigger than you, it motivates you to do things that you are
Not necessarily.
way
Yes and no.
beyond you.
Yes and no, but if you really think about it, that's like saying, oh, we can never have an AI doctor.
Whole different concept.
Not really. If you build, okay, for an example, a police robot. A police robot starts getting, wait.
would do terrible.
If this robot, right, could it have men's functions? Absolutely. I'm not saying it'll be perfect, but let's say we get there, or even a firefighter. You have these robots that would go in and it would be easier because thinking about it like this is how they would sell it. One, as a firefighter, you're more inclined to get a lot of more diseases because of the smoke. Yes, there'll be times that maybe your mask may have a mess up and you didn't know that because one minute it was fine and the next minute whatever, something could have sealed, something could have happened, and you're getting carbon dioxide into it. And next thing you know, you're waking up on a bed because you knocked out in there. Now you have this opportunity of a robot that's going in there. They are programmed. They are literally programmed to go in there no matter what and save a human. That can happen. Is it going to happen tomorrow? No. Is there a possibility of happening? Yes, absolutely. Like right now, anybody, like when you think about like flying cars or submarines or robot doctors, like all of that is possible. Is it going to happen tomorrow? No, but it is very highly likely to happen because it's what they are programmed to do. And would it have misfunctions? Absolutely. Maybe there'll be like out of 10 robots, 2 of them decide to be like, yo, ow, that hurt. A fucking piece of wood just fell on me, and I gotta get out of here. It's on fire. Maybe they'll have that reaction.
It's not even that. It's if we're really getting into this whole sci-fi debate. First off, realistically, what is it gonna be made out of? First off, to be fire resistant and also have the capability of shielding, carrying someone, and also on top of that, being able to maneuver, to have the flexibility to maneuver in and out of, because firefighters don't always go through a door. Like there's times where they'll go through a hole that they've made inside of a garage. Like there's a lot of aspects in firefighting where you physically cannot be, that's why you have to be so fit. That's why you have to be so flexible.
Again, I agree
and you
with
have
that.
to do such a big variety of things. But either way, we're getting into like weird territory of hypotheticals. So I feel like it's just nonsensical.
My personal opinion, I think is like it's very possible. I think
Everything is
everything
possible.
across the table could get replaced. Maybe, honestly, maybe in my mind, the only thing that maybe might not get replaced, not really. Like I was gonna say acting, but I think acting could get replaced very quickly.
Things that
But-
cannot get replaced are.
You probably have, honestly, you have like one person in a firefighter. You probably have a person that watches
No,
them.
there's
In the army, you have
there's
people watching
work that won't get replaced by AI, guys. Let's be realistic, right? Like, okay, like a person that's
Therapist,
plumber, okay?
A therapist,
a therapist.
you don't want to get into
You
that
will
conversation.
never have.
You don't wanna get into
You could
that
have an AI therapist talk to you. That's a whole different conversation, and you can get clear. You can get, but actually talking one. I'm talking about real therapy, like having someone that could actually talk to you with the emotional capability in mind. That's a whole separate thing.
Yeah,
There's nothing. We will never have this with an AI. You can talk to an AI and they'll give you explanations and answers to their things, right? You will never have what we're having now. You can never have a conversation
So you
where
think you can't have a full blown conversation with a robot?
No.
It's not that you can't have a
you can't have an emotionally depth one.
like they don't have the life path that you did. They're being taught those things, right? And so, but it's not their actual experience of themselves that they actually live that. So it's different, right? So that emotional piece of it, yeah.
Okay, so now let me ask you a question. So
Yes.
you're telling me, right? So
You
I can
can't
understand.
have a therapist that is AI. What I'm saying, what you can't, things that I feel you can't is like you can't have a plumber AI. You can't have, for an example,
Okay, so why would you say a plumber AI?
you can't
why?
because that it has to be physical work. They have to first diagnose where the issue was, right? And then from there that they diagnose and they have to fix the issue. That means opening up the hole, pulling the plumbing out. Look, those are physical work that AI won't be.
So you don't think an AI can replace a car mechanic?
No,
So you don't think an AI can replace a car manufacturer?
they could.
Wait, answer that question. You don't think a
No. Yes, a car. Okay.
better question. You don't think AI can put
I see.
car together?
I see where her head's at. She's saying
Wait. Answer that question. You don't think an AI could put a
Yes, no, and it's not about that, Efrain. Yes, absolutely. Can they do it? But this is more of a physical labor work, and those physical labor works are not going to be something.
But what
that
I just want
could-
to understand a little bit more, because the reason I'm asking, right, is because
I know where your head's at. I know what you're thinking.
Like
I'm saying about the.
I'll give you a perfect example. Why Ford fired hundreds of thousands workers in a plant? Because it is easy for a robot to put together something.
Absolutely.
If you have, let's say for an example, you make this mechanic shop, right? Make this
But
mechanic
it's
shop.
very different. Imagine a freaking robot coming in here and diagnosing the freaking thing that was coming out here that no one knew why my light was not working. Okay.
Uh-huh.
The
Now let me ask you another
electrician-
question. Why do you think it won't be able to?
Because think about it. How would it be able to diagnose? It literally will open up holes everywhere, right? In order to diagnose which
Okay,
one
so
was.
now my next question to you is, why do doctors go to ChatGPT for answers?
Okay, but it's very different. You're not.
This gets to my third point actually.
It's not. It's very different. And when you're talking about ChatGPT, and it's answering questions. Remember, ChatGPT is like having an encyclopedia and the knowledge of all of Google.
Okay, but that's what I'm telling
everything
you.
that people put together. It is not the same thing as a physical work. A physical person that person when they came here, okay? They had to send the electrician. They had to send the plumber. They had to go ahead and send, okay, all these different people to diagnose different areas of the construction of the house. Fine. If they had a camera on, but still, you have to think about the fact that this person had to come here, open the roof, okay? No, right? Because he had to disconnect the toilet from up there, watch the line coming through. So then that robot would have had to disconnect the toilet, go through watching the line of where the water was coming from to diagnose the
Now let me
that it came from up there that was leading up to here, and that's why we had water was coming up there. So they had to cut the hole there. That means the electricity. Now there was another issue with the electricity. He had to test each line of the area. And that's not something that a robot could do.
Interesting.
Okay, so I know exactly what you're talking about. You're saying there is objectively same thing. That's the same reason I say they can't do public service like they can't be police officers or firefighters because there is too many variability that like in firefighting you can't get as many scenarios as you'll walk into a fire and it'll be completely different than the last one and where it came from and all that stuff. An AI will not be able to sit there and tell you exactly and pinpoint what's the best point of entry. It'll only be able to tell you what has worked before. It cannot
now
tell
let
you
me-
what's worked
now I ask
currently.
this question.
They can't use derived logic from other experiences because they've never had past experiences.
Okay. So now my next question to you is the following. Okay.
Which I still need to talk about my third point, but continue.
Go ahead.
Okay, so my third point is that I think that AI is atrocious if you don't use it properly. And I can give you the perfect example of using it properly. Essentially, using it properly is using it, like I said, like an encyclopedia. Hey, what does this mean? And can you break it down to me in further detail? If you are getting an AI to write something or do something for you, you are slowly dismantling the part of your brain that creates critical thinking. And this is actually a big issue right now. So AI that has been put in with children, because the number one way to determine anything is give it to children. And I know that sounds horrible, but if you put it onto a child, they'll figure out how to use it, maneuver it, and kind of like limit test the hell out of it. And they showed kids AI, and without showing them how to use it properly, all they did was search up the answers and instantly get whatever they needed and turn that in, right? Just like using a computer and cheating on homework. Like, for example, I'm terrified for me being in the future of my life and going to a doctor and them being like, yeah, hold on, and then they have to boot up a computer to find the answer. That terrifies the hell out of me because that doctor doesn't really, not that they don't know what they're doing, but they don't have the qualifications of a doctor from 10, 15 years before that, when they didn't have the ability to do that. They had to go to the library to go through a book that was benched onto the wall, right, to search up all the different prescriptions and things, like symptoms of stuff, to then be able to come up with an idea that helped them break down what that patient had.
So-
Do you know what I mean?
So hold on, but so this is what's happening right now. Okay. With there is a difference, because from an enhancement capability, what used to take a provider multiple visits maybe, or multiple hours of studying or looking at a case specifically, an AI can do it within minutes. And so it's pre-diagnosing the patients. So when the doctor goes into the room, if they all have the clinical background of multiple visits that this patient has had, lab results, all of these things, they are already preparing your chart so that it could be ready for you as a provider to say, okay, these are all of the things that gathered all of this information, because that's what it did, right? It gathered that information like the encyclopedia, like Google, like whatever. It learns all of these things. So it gathered all the information about Efrain coming into his doctor's appointment. And it's now saying, okay, based on labs, based on
Because of the experience.
Right.
Okay.
No, not the experience.
Because of everything that you're putting in is how it's generating the answer.
So
Okay.
it's being educated.
It's predetermined data.
It is predetermined data. So what you're doing is it's enhancing the provider to say, okay, these are all the avenues that you should look at. This person is a type 1 diabetic. This person, has a heart condition.
Yes, and then it gets
It closes
what
the
it could be.
specifications.
And then
Okay.
go ahead and send them to a specialist for this. And that doctor has more face-to-face time with the patient.
Yes. Okay.
But they do have to, again, it is enhancing the capability of the provider. But to Victor's point, is it making the provider dumber or giving? Yes. Eventually, can we see robots, right?
I'm so
Right?
locked into this conversation.
Yeah. Can we see robots walking around and doing things? Absolutely. Is it in the future? Absolutely. We have Tesla already have their first model robots, right? That are being sold. So I get all of that. I'm not saying that. In the future, can we possibly see not an AI, but a robot do, like you said? Yeah, we can. Anything is possible. But will there be things that they cannot do? Of course, there's going to be things that they can't do. Because it's different. What that looks like in our future, in our children's future, and my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren's lives is going to be very interesting to watch the development of what that looks like. What do I recommend to everybody? Learn. Learn about AI as much as you can. Why? Because it is the way to the future.
Of course, 100%.
It is going to be your sidekick.
Of course.
It is going to be your assistant. It is going to feed a lot of information, because what they're trying to do is cut the amount of staff by
it's cheaper.
half
It's cheaper that way.
to develop a system
Of course.
that one person can do the job of
Of course.
five.
And
who's that four person? AI.
comments need to be done about what they think about AI. That's for sure. You guys need to comment what you guys think.
Well, guys, I think that as we conclude this episode. You know, I think we have a lot more to touch on. I love the conversations. I love looking at the view
Oh, my baby.
of everybody's age group. And I think that the thing I love the most is no matter how big or small our community in this podcast gets, I think that the most important thing is that these are memories that we're building together, and we're talking about really and real things that affect our day in and day out. And it's always nice to see your perspective, Efrain, on, even though you're only 4 years older than Victor, and I'm 16 years older than you, and 21 years older than Victor, how different. Even though we've all been together, we've all been raised the same, we've all been together through this life, we all have different views and different perspectives of things, and it's nice to see the interactions and the conversation. So, good night.
I think our next topic, Victor, is going to be if the world...
Compassion is dead. Lock in.
Lock it.
Follow me on Twitch. Twitch.tv/that1guy. With 2 O's. No, but seriously,
Mr. Trader.
I hope all you guys that watch this, and maybe all the people that you don't watch this, stay safe.
Amen.
Here's something that my firefighter tells me, and then I'll say the thing that my high school teacher told me. Don't add to the population, don't take away from the population, and don't get forcefully taken out of the population. And I'll say the thing that my high school teacher said. Stay safe, have a great weekend, and don't let us find you in the newspaper.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Y'all be safe. We're going to end it here. We'll have another one for the following week, which will be another conversation in the chat or in the description. Give us your feedback about AI. What do you guys feel like AI is going, or what is your intake about it, or your take about it? Give us I would really love to see everybody's point of view.
Of
You know, and I don't think
Yeah.
this is an argument.
Or tips. Give us some tips.
I wouldn't say these are arguments. I would really honestly say that it's more like I wouldn't say that these are arguments. I would more say it's sharing point of views. And it might come off like an argument, but trust me, I'm not even arguing. I've been lately very intrigued to see people's point of views about a lot of things. And I think it was a very W conversation towards the ending. And that whole AI conversation was awesome. It definitely shows that we all have different point of views. And that's phenomenal. Like, we're all different in our ways. And yeah, I love you guys. Y'all be safe.
God, we need a translator.
The next day.
All right, let's do it.
Toodles.
Every single one in our community, and thank you for following us.
Amen.
We'll be back on every Thursday.
Yep, that's a goal.
Whoa. Thursday.
Thursdays at 5 p.m.
Thursday at 5 p.m.
We could only do it for 2 hours because remember, guys, from 7:30 to 10:30, I do Dungeons and Dragons live with my friends on twitch.tv/that1guy with 2 O's.
W promo.
W promo. Woohoo! All right.
Say bye, doggies.
Good night. Let's go.
Good night, guys.